Alright. Well, now that we've been introduced to our hub world and our world in general, now let's actually play the game the way you're supposed to play the game, alright? We're not gonna try and take down that big old boss monster just yet. Our first goal is to get a feel for the layout of this city and try and see if we can hunt those echoes of blood that doll was talking about. It's about now that I can stop feigning complete and total ignorance and start explaining the way this game works. So, the doll said the echoes of blood, and you also saw when we killed that wolf the second time that it said blood echoes retrieved. Blood echoes are gonna be our main sort of currency and also experience in this game. They are up in the top right. The top counter is showing you how many blood echoes you have, and you get them from killing enemies. They work exactly the same as souls in Demon Souls or Dark Souls do. So if I ever refer to them as souls, that's just me using a shorthand because they are basically the same thing. You're gonna use those to buy shit and level up your attributes, so they're very good. But when you die, you lose all of them. You can get them back though if you reach the spot where you died. There will be either a blood stain on the ground that you can interact with, or in this game they added a wrinkle where sometimes an enemy will take them, and you can tell they have your blood echoes by their glowing blue eyes. If you kill that enemy, you'll get your blood echoes back. So it's a little wrinkle into the Souls thing. I'm pretty sure Souls games only have the patch on the ground where you died as the way to retrieve your souls. This game, sometimes you might have to prove your mettle in the marketplace of ideas, and by ideas I mean combat. Traipsing over here just to show off the beginner's trap that is hiding behind these boxes. This guy is really tough if you fight him at starting level, like I'm doing right now. This is a nice classic From Software trick of putting a really tough enemy, one really tough enemy alone toward the beginning of the game, so that if you come back here later or you see more of them, you'll feel very powerful when you blow through them in a couple shots. As it stands, unless you do the thing that I just did there, you're gonna have a hard time fighting this guy your first try. Now, what I did there was I parried him with my gun and then went into a visceral attack. And that's gonna be a strategy that serves me very well throughout this run. It's tough to get the hang of your first time, but just like in Souls, in that game you did it with a shield, but here with a gun you can parry just as an enemy is about to attack, and you will stagger them. Let me take a break for a moment.
Lads, you've come on. He'd open the door on a night of the hunt. Away with you, now!
So the enemy will be staggered, it will play a very distinctive sound cue, and you can rush in for a visceral attack.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
Why wouldn't you want anything to do with me? Look at me. I'm Katie. Yeah, the visceral attack, riposte as it's known in Dark Souls, it's not a one-hit kill. For some enemies, it functionally is, but it does massive amounts of damage. So it is a very good technique to be using once you get the hang of it. It can not quite trivialize some enemies and bosses, but make your life oh so much easier. So, boy howdy, you really should get good at parrying in this game. You can also trigger a stagger into a visceral attack by sneaking up behind an enemy who doesn't know you're there and backstabbing them with a charged attack. That can also work. I find that less effective, mostly just because I very rarely feel like, sneaking, and by sneaking I mean walking slowly. Here we got our first weapon upgrade material. We're going to be collecting a lot of these, or trying to at least. Bloodstone shards. You need 3 of them to get your weapon to +1. Ow! I forgot that guy was there. How embarrassing. Yeah, 3 bloodstone shards to upgrade your weapon the first time, 5 to upgrade it the next time, 8 to upgrade it the next, and so on and so forth. Souls games really love to have these sort of negative feedback loops where further upgrades are hindered by increasing costs. And so, as you go through the game, you need more and more things, be it blood echoes or upgrading items, in order to upgrade yourself and your weapons further, which means the game is continually pushing you into harder and harder areas where enemies will drop better bloodstone shards and more blood echoes in order to upgrade yourself. Every time you level up, the price for the next level up increases by... I'm not sure if it's a flat rate or what. The first couple times it seems like it increases by about 200 souls. So you are constantly being pushed forward into newer areas so that you can, find all the goodies and get yourself some of that sweet, sweet blood juice to level yourself up, because boy howdy, you're gonna need it in this game. Of course, you could stick to the same area and kill the same enemies over and over again to grind, because regular enemies respawn when you die or awake from the lamp. So you can do that, but, if you're staying in central Yharnam for hours and hours and hours and hours grinding out all these enemies here by the fire, you'll get a lot of blood echoes every time, but the more you level up, the less that amount of blood echoes is going to do for you, so... you gotta keep pushing. These dogs... I hate these dogs. Now the dogs in Dark Souls 3 specifically, because that's the one I've played, those dogs were easy because you had a shield in that game, and so you could easily just bop, let them bounce off your shield and then hit them. These ones, you really do have to dodge. The focus in this game, more so than Dark Souls, is on, it's really pushing you towards a really aggressive play style through various systems, like the lack of a viable option to use a shield, and another mechanic that you've seen in use that I haven't really explained, and that is they call it rallying. So when you get hit, just like in Souls, your health decreases, and you can see the sort of lighter red or brown part of the meter is the amount of health that just got taken off. You can see it takes a while to drain down. In Bloodborne, while that section of the health meter is there, hitting enemies successively will cause your health meter to refill up to a certain point. So the game really is pushing you to be aggressive and to stay on enemies, because when you get hit, you have an immediate opportunity to get that health back by hitting back. So it's really pushing you toward that kind of play style. If you get hit and then do a visceral attack, it also restores pretty much all or most of the health that you lost. So again, viscerals, very good technique. Definitely use them. Alright, now these guys, I love these guys. They're carrion crows. Big old bloated crows that are too fat to fly more than a few feet. They just crawl around on the ground and scream at you. I love them. Oil urns are a handy little item that will help boost the effects of fire attacks that you do, so we're going to be equipping those and using them on some things that are weak to fire, which is a lot of things, because, I don't know if you noticed, but there's, beasts and shit all over the place in this city. Something's going on. Something odd is going on, and I don't know if it's just another night of the hunt here in Yharnam. Look at this guy. Yeah, you see? That didn't kill him in one hit. But it might as well have, you know? Did quite a lot. And now we got the torch. This is going to be helpful for lighting up dark areas later on. You can also jab people with it, but it doesn't do much damage, at least unupgraded. But then, why would you spend valuable bloodstone shards upgrading the torch when you have, like, actual weapons? I don't know. Anyway, back here, we got some more cold blood. Now the cold blood is interesting, in the way that it kind of... Do I want to say it democratizes the game? It's sort of a way to make it easier on players who, you know, have a tough time with the combat, because, you know, cold blood, you pop it, and you get, you know, an amount of blood echoes. It just gives you blood echoes when you use that item. So, even if you lose a bunch, you can go back to the Hunter's Dream, pop some blood echoes from whatever cold bloods you've collected, and, you know, level up that way. So, even if you lose all your echoes, or you're not good at fighting enemies, you don't want to... You're a pacifist, you can still make it through the game, maybe not just on the souls you get through picking up the cold blood consumables, but they're there to help you, and you should definitely use them, and I am a professional MLG gamer who is good at games, and definitely didn't just get killed by a dog there. Okay, yada yada yada. So many things are happening. I'm trying to think what I still need to talk about. Ah, yes. You might have been wondering about the other counter that goes up underneath the Blood Echoes counter. That is your Insight. Currently it's at a 1. Insight is also a currency, but it affects the game, the actual gameplay in a bit more of a substantial way, which we'll see later. The reason I routed the first run through this place the way I did, with just running past everybody and then going to see the boss, was not just to be funny. Also, take that. Yeah, it wasn't just to be funny. My goal was to get to the Cleric Beast, the first major boss most players encounter, as fast as possible so that I could gain 1 insight. Insight in this game is sort of representative of your knowledge of hidden cosmic forces, eldritch truths, things which, Lovecraft shit. And so, having insight will literally allow you to see things that you couldn't before. The first thing you'll see is that when you have 1 insight, the lifeless doll that we found in the Hunter's Dream when we first went there, turns out is a living being, and we can see that now that we have 1 insight. You cannot level up until you have 1 insight and see that the doll is actually a person. So that's why I wanted to get to the Cleric Beast as soon as possible, so I could gain 1 insight and, you know, access leveling up as quickly as possible. The reason I died as easily as I did was because I'm pretty sure I could have beaten the Cleric Beast at, you know, starting level, but I was not at all confident in that and figured, you know, it might take a couple tries. I wanted it to be smooth, so I decided to just, you know, run in, freak out, get killed, throw some pebbles at it for a laugh, and get my 1 insight that way. So that this way I can show you how to actually play the game, and show you all around Central Yarnum, gain a bunch of blood echoes in the process, so that we can level up proper and start, you know, buying things and get ourselves ready to fight the Cleric Beast for real. Alright, now this place Shouldn't have gone up that ladder. There's nothing here. Go... Yeah, I forgot that other ladder was there when I was playing. This place is another sort of beginner's trap, because there's some really tough enemies here. And if you fall down into the sewer below, there are so many rats. And again, in Dark Souls 3, rats are fine. Even the big ones. You can just use your shield. Just block them. Just tank it. They can't do shit to you. In here, it's a different story. You really don't have that option. You gotta dodge around, they're gonna gang up on you. It's not gonna be good. Anyway, boy, these guys are pretty well on their way to transforming into beasts. They're all hunched over, all hairy and shit. But they're still more humanoid than the werewolves, so... Plus they're using sort of human weaponry. So... I'm starting to think something might be up with this whole hunt thing. The hunt and the beasts and what is going on with all that? That's a nice little detail that they have that sort of later game tier drop of blood echoes on a railing that you'll need some skill to maneuver yourself onto. That's a neat little touch. This whole area is just kind of a, you know, it's designed to, pretty much designed to kill first-time players. Luckily, I am good at the game. Luckily, I'm good at the game. Luckily, I'm good at the game. Thank you. And can now claim what I came here for, which is right over here. Some new swag. You're gonna have to say goodbye to your beautiful face for the time being, Katie, but don't worry. We'll see it again, I'm sure. These hunter clothes give you better defense all around, so it's basically anything would be an upgrade from the clothes you started in. If you're careful, you can drop onto some ledges on the way down there and mitigate the fall damage that would kill you outright if you jumped from there. But, ow. I wanted to show off some other stuff first. We'll come down to that other part of the sewer later. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I forgot to talk about. Oh, when I replayed this game recently, I forgot that you could break those coffins and get out that way, so I thought I was stuck down there. On my second run, I think, that was what happened to me. And now look where we are. We're on a ledge overlooking the town square where they're burning that guy and where we cleaned house earlier. Of course, since I died, those guys are all back, so just toss a pebble at him. Oh, hey, buddy. That's the other thing about these games, is that the earlier enemies, the basic enemies, are pretty easy. But, also, this is how much damage the torch does. It's not great, but again, these guys are easy. They're pretty easy in isolation, of course, but, you know, with the From Software trademark of kind of methodical combat with no animation canceling and stamina management, it makes fighting groups of enemies not quite unviable, but very difficult. You really need to manage crowd control in sort of things like that. But then there's some guys that are just like, oh, hey, Grandpa. How you doing? Oh, what's that? You want to show me your gun? Oh, you missed, pal. You're supposed to do it like that. But yeah, none of these guys on their own are that difficult to kill. It's when they get all up in groups and start wrecking your entire shit that you start saying, oh, this game's too hard, it needs an easy mode, and then a bunch of people tell you to get good, and then you your idea that these games are that the community around these games are hostile.
Yes, I see.
Is vindicated.
But the Great Bridge is the only way to the Cathedral Ward. And during the hunt, the bridge is closed. You could try the aqueduct. There's a rather, how shall I put it, colourful area south of the Great Bridge. From there, an aqueduct leads to the Cathedral Ward. Not a place you'd normally want to visit, but I don't imagine you have much of a choice, do you?
Well, I'll go visit that aqueduct, but I don't know. I think if I can beat that big old monster, it should open the way to the healing church, you know? Anyway, time to pop a couple brewskis and go chat up Dollface. What do you say?
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire? Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand close. Now shut your eyes.
All right. So we got about 5 level ups. So it's time to pick my stats. I'm gonna be going for a kind of balanced skill set of those top 4 skills: vitality, endurance, strength, and skill. Mainly gonna be working on vitality, which is your health, and skill, which is your sort of dexterity, damage output.
They find hunters like yourself, worship and serve them. Speak words they do not. But still, aren't they sweet?
They're nice.
Farewell, good hunter.
But yeah, skill
May
is going to
you
be
find
more
your worth
for,
in the waking world.
You know, visceral attacks and sort of more dexterous weapons. Certain weapons scale with certain skills, meaning they get better the better that particular skill is. Also, you can buy stuff with insight. As opposed to weapons that scale with strength, which are, you know, sort of the bigger, heavier weapons. There was also Blood Tinge and Arcane. Blood Tinge is for guns, you know. The Quicksilver bullets are made out of your own blood, so you level Blood Tinge if you're going for a gun-heavy playthrough. Arcane is for magic, which we'll be getting to eventually. I'm not going to be leveling those two much, so I don't tend to at all in this game. I'm more of a melee guy. But yeah, that's leveling up. That's going over there. Can we fortify our saw cleaver? Yes, we have 3 bloodstone shards. So, time to boost it up to +1. You can boost your weapons up to +10, but upgrade materials get rarer and rarer as you go up through them, so you're not gonna be boosting many more than 1 or 2 weapons to +10.